From a light base coat, in this case Wraithbone Spray, paint all yellow sections with Averland Sunset thin down. Even over light, this would probably take 2 coats. That's fine as long as it's kept thin. At this stage, don't worry about overlapping into the areas eventually going to be red, because it's an easy colour to overpaint. The red sections are then base coated with Mephiston Red. I would suggest to start with the edges that touch the yellow sections first, to be as neat as possible, and then the sections beyond that are easily painted once the border is established. All black sections and sections that will be painted silver are base coated with Abaddon Black, including the chest eagles, the gun, the vents in the backpack, and any metal strapping. The leather sections, so the pouches and the belt, are now undercoated with Rhinox Hide. Parchment of any purity seals is to be picked out with Zandri Dust. Pick out the wax part of the seals with Caliban Green. Paint all silver areas Iron Hand Steel. Now for the fun part, using Wyldwood and Contrast Medium 1-to-1 mix, pick out all recesses in the armour. On the red sections, spillages aren't too bad because it's easy to correct with Mephiston Red, but try to minimise any spillages on the yellow armour, as overpainting that with Averland Sunset is quite frustrating and does take a while. And actually I might suggest if this happens to use something like Wraithbone first and then to paint over these areas with Averland Sunset. It does really set off the model though, so it's worth persevering with it, but it does take time. Shade all silver areas with Nuln Oil. And also the green wax of the purity seal. The purity seal then is washed with Agrax Earthshade. The leather sections are edge highlighted with Skrag Brown. The yellow is edge highlighted then with Yriel Yellow. For Primaris Marines, there's a lot of hard, sharp edges, which allows for use of the side or the edge of the brush, making this a little bit easier. But in sections where this isn't possible, a thin edge highlight is the goal, but any overspilling or edge highlights that are too thick can be corrected with Averland Sunset. The red is highlighted in much the same fashion using Wild Rider Red. Highlight the black areas with Mechanicus Standard Grey. This would be the tubing between the arms and legs, the gun and the chainsword. Edge highlight the silver on the gun and the sword using Stormhost Silver. The purity seal is first highlighted with Ushabti Bone, just leaving the darkened colour in the deepest recesses, in particular the recess between the top and bottom sheet apartment. Then edge highlight the sharpest edges with Screaming Skull. The purity seal wax is first re-base coated with Caliban Green, just leaving the darkest coat in the recesses. Then Warpstone Glow is used to pick out the edges of the wax and the centre as well. This is quite a translucent colour, so it tends to blend well with the underlying Caliban Green. The wax is completed with a edge highlight of Moot Green on the sharpest points of the wax. Pick the centre of the lenses out with Corax White, aiming to keep the edge of the lens still a dark colour, and correct any inevitable mistakes with the base paints. The eye lenses are then washed with watered down Moot Green used as a glaze. And this is the end result. If you like this video, please subscribe to see some more videos on painting Warhammer miniatures.